How do you actually create an environment where failure is okay? A leader asked me this question, and you see, most leaders say they want innovation. Most leaders say they want risk taking, they want bold ideas, and then they unconsciously punish the very behaviors that make all of those things possible. And I make up that you're well aware that psychological safety isn't built on the slogans that we love to throw out, but it's always through those micro moments that occur after something goes wrong, when things fail. And before I unpack a method, I think it's important to unpack the question, why would you want a culture where failure is okay anyhow? Well, I'll start by saying if you've read my book, The Science Behind Success, then you'd know that we're either in growth mode or protection mode. At the cellular level, we're in growth mode or protection mode. And the same thing happens when we show up in the business. Growth mode means we're taking risks. We're learning from our mistakes, which are important things when it comes to forwarding the knowledge and the wisdom inside the business versus protection. When you're in protection mode, it means you're walking on eggshells. You're doing all of the safe things. And the businesses that I see thrive are the ones who know how to activate growth mode, which means they are willing to risk, fail, learn, and risk again, because this is the process that helps us be better down the line. But when failure happens, people will always watch what their manager does next. And I don't know if people actually fear failure itself. I think most of the times they fear the reaction by their manager, the reaction by their leader, the reaction by their parents when those failure happens. So I want you to think about the last time your team failed, or even the last time your team did not meet your expectations. When this happened, did you tighten control or did you expand curiosity? Did you assign blame or did you really put in the focus to extract the learning? Did you rush to fix it, scramble, react, or did you pause and reflect? Consider four things. Like, if you're somebody who really wants to build a culture where failure is okay, these next four things are important. It's not the full list, but they are very important. And the first one is to audit these reactions that I just shared with you. When you think about when things go sideways, do you get quiet? Does your tone tighten? Do you go into blaming mode? Do you start problem solving before listening? It's things like this where your culture takes cue. Curiosity or control. The choice that you make spreads a virus that we like to say, organizational virus, and this becomes the permission slip for other people to do the same thing. There's a concept that Astro Teller from Google X talks about, and this is the second one. How do you build failure rituals? You can create a very powerful thing inside the business when you can turn failure into the type of fuel that gets people excited and energized by ritualizing the reflection. When you end projects with a micro debrief, what surprised us? When you start meetings with like a micro miss, where you share something that didn't work and what you learned. And also, when you celebrate recovery stories, just as much and possibly more than success stories. This is what didn't work. This is what we learned, and this is how we're using that information. These are great examples of failure rituals. But another thing for leaders, and this can really take the pressure off you, when leaders share their own stumbles, they signal to others that mistakes are not career ending. They're simply one thing. Mistakes are information. So think about how you can activate the power of this inside your organization. It could be something as simple as saying, hey, here's something I got wrong last month. I thought it was this, but this is what it taught me. Like, simple mad lib that you can use with your team. That one sentence can do more for the psychological safety than any value statement on the wall ever could, because you're modeling the behavior. And the last thing is, consider how you might redefine success. Because success has never been about an absence of failure. What it is at its best is the speed and honesty of learning that happens after these mistakes happen. And so, a big question, I love this question. How fast are we willing to be wrong so that we can eventually get it right? How fast are we willing to be wrong so that we can make sure we get it right? The ultimate win when you do this stuff is you're going to start to move from a culture that hides mistakes, that's in protection mode, and one that knows how to harness them, where experimentation becomes a part of the norm. And when you do this, when failure becomes part of the progress story, people will stop hiding it and start learning from it faster. Your maturity as a leader is nothing to do with how you prevent failure. It's everything to do with how skillfully you can use failure when it happens.